Good afternoon. It's now 4:30 UK time. I've had the crappiest of crappy days, so um, I've been doing some stuff while I've been on calls. So I am just going to spend an hour or two on this. I've already spent quite a bit of time today, so let's just catch up. If I just turn the that's not the one I wanted. That's the one that I wanted to turn off. Right, so just to play catch up, I during a finance call this morning, I finished off the 3D part of the panels, um, and we've finished some of the cockpit frame interior, some of the reworks. Listening to the latest Sean Ryan. I'm hearing myself. Hang on. There we go. Sean Ryan with one of the astronauts that got stranded on the space station. It's not my usual thing 'cause it's very religion heavy, but it was quite an interesting listen. I didn't finish all of it. I'll go back to that later on. Anyway, so the basic frame is kind of getting there. There's still some issues to sort out. Still a lot of work to do with it. What I have been using is this wonderful 360 view uh, look around, I guess, work around or whatever. So what I've done is going to require a little bit of work because I've literally simplified the pillar. So I want to change some of this, but I'm going to do that later. I'm going to go for something that's a little bit easier to manage right now. So what I've done, or rather what I've started doing, is working on the overhead panel, which is this that sits in the top of the canopy. So there you go, fuses, switch gear, engine throttle, and brakes and whatever, and rotor brake, etc. Emergency shut-off, fuel systems, console lighting, I think that is. So looking at combat light, cockpit light systems, co-pilot flight light instruments. There you go, blade folding. So I'm guessing on these are all powered rather than guided, so be kind of interested from a mechanical point of view how that exactly works. But anyway, those are actually spotlights. So a lot of this overhead I have no idea about. So again, we were talking about cabling the other day. It's sort of random, odd cabling in odd places, but it's easier for maintenance rather than anything else. So I guess it's fine. So what I'm going to focus on, at least for today, is, or at least right now, is this throttle box, or whatever you want to describe it as. Helicopters aren't really my thing. I have 20 hours in a little Robinson. That's about it. So what I've got is I can't. This really needs spinning around and turning and whatever. That is the basis of this upper panel. I guess it's not really going to make much of a difference if I spin it all. So let's go 180 in the Z. So these are in the overheads. Sod it. Come on, where are you? Trying to find a bit to snap to. There we go. So when this folds down, it should all be in the right place. So what I was going to do, because I've been obviously doing some of this while I've been on calls and things, I've now finished for the day. I've had to sit and listen to a lecture, which, to be brutally honest, wasn't really worth listening to. So we're gonna go. Sorry, I'm trying to make a 25 mil cube on the 0 plane. So yeah, I was listening to a press briefing on strategic effects and new weapons programs and things for work, and honestly, nothing burger. It was. I was on Discord with a colleague and sharing notes as we were listening, and both of us were kind of sat there questioning why we're actually listening to this guy. It was really one of those this meeting should have been an email moments. And for me personally, it was kind of nice to see that it's not just the UK MOD that waffles. It's actually a lot of European military organisations as well. So it's always entertaining. So just grab that face, bring it back a little bit. Just so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to facet that so I've got a center point. Shrink it down so it's easy to select later. Let's go on the back face. With snap on, I'm going to use that center point to scale. 0.1. We're going to make it. It's actually going to go. Yeah, make it 16 round. So this is the center point of that, or where it would normally pivot from. And when I've put it in final position, I'll move that center point into a pivot group. So I've taken the face off that back edge. We're just gonna excuse me. Okay. Let's see, where are we? Where were we? Right. So the way this is obviously chamfered down, it goes down a different size. I don't know the length of this. It's kind of hard to guess it. But looking, I'm going to say, imagine if we turn that 90 degrees, I'm going to say it's going to be roughly equivalent of that space. So I come to the top. See, I'm just going to have to check. No, I think my thing needs to be a bit wider. So let's grab that all as verts. So that's, we've gone out 8 mil. So I'm just going to grab this, copy, paste. No, I'm just going to grab it. Sorry. I'm going to rotate it 90 just so that I can scale it to what I think it should be. And we can have a look-see. Still thinking that's probably going to be a little bit long. So I'm going to guess about that for the first edge of the chamfer, that for the second. So that's that little chamfer there. So maybe that. Just gonna move this picture somewhere I can see it. So let's grab all of those, cut, paste. So let's go down to 30% of the original. Turn that back to 100. So, as always, doing a quick UV. Say today's been a very long day, so I don't think this is going to be a very long session. I was going to say something, I just blanked. Yeah, right, so it's kind of paying me to unwrap this right now because I'm going to scale all this in a bit. So it's actually easier for me to just grab that, unwrap it like so, and I'm not having to lay out the rest of the UV or spend a load of time developing it, unwrapping it, changing distortion, checking distortion, or sorting out um, alignment. So what I can do is if I grab these, right, I can scale that to, where are we? Yeah, it's going to go down to about 60%, I think. And I'm going to grab this edge and bevel that slightly. So what you can see is it's not affected that UV whatsoever. So when I come to painting it, it's going to be painted nice, easy. You can split it up if you want, and scale these down, but it's easy. They'll get lost in the UV. It becomes a problem keeping them together, and because what I want to do is wrap it like that texture, it becomes a little bit easier to paint if it's all in one piece and at the same resolution. There's some trickery that may need to happen to keep the wrapping consistent, but I'll come to that later, and we can always change the UV later on if needs be. But again, for the moment, it's just convenient to unwrap it like that. So there's these discs like on the end of these. I was going to say flange, but I don't know that that's the right term for this. Bloody hell. So let's turn that round down. So as always, unwrap as we go. So let's grab that. So I have swapped into the top view. Just turning that back to 90. So, turn pedestals off. So hopefully So you can see what I've created is too thin. So all of this needs kind of thickening up and bulking up. So if I widen that to about 150%, it's important that I do say 150 or whatever. I remember the value that I put in because I'll show you that in a minute. Because when I come back to trying to fix this UV and we've scaled the part, I need to adjust the UV to 150% as well. So what I'm going to do is grab that point down there. Actually, grab that center point there, makes the most sense. So if I scale this now, I'm going to go 150 in the X, 150 in the Y, and I'm going to go back to my Z and go 100. Let's move it into the center of that. I've got nothing to snap to on this, so I'm just eyeballing it. So again, if we come back out here, that's looking a little bit more probably do with the main stanchion of that being a little bit longer actually. I think what I'm going to do is that's the outer donut, that's the outer that. That should be the center again. I am just going to scale that up to 120%. So I've gone a little bit too far, I think. So let's try. Oh. So let's try 110. Trying to get something that is an approximation of the angle in that pick. I think we're getting closer. Again, I think the stem needs to be longer. So let's bring that back a bit. It's going to end up re-UVing some of this anyway, actually, so my earlier comment may not actually be valid anymore. Okay, that's not so bad. I'm just going to grab that top face, because what I have noticed, geometry, I can do this in UV as well, but geometry polygon insets 2.5 mil. I could do this in not UV, sorry, in normal, but I want to make a little impression there, just so it dishes a little bit. Grab that. I'm gonna say that's getting better. I think it's a bit too fat. So it's 95. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I think that's gonna be alright. Doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, there's no reason for it to be perfect. So we're back to on the question of how we unwrap that. So if I just grab all of that. So there's a couple of ways to do it. We can just stretch it out so it's 150% there. Still may not be right. Or we can grab all of those edges. So that's the main body. Because the way that this is all set up and mapped. Okay, there we go. So I stitched to the wrong side because I think it was upside down, so let's remove that. And we'll stitch it to those faces again. So again, we're back to where we were. It should be all scaled proportionally now. So, and we're going to have two of these. So, geometry, duplicate, mirror. It's on the 0 plane, so that's that. I'm going to select that very quickly. Because what it's done is it's put it on the same, over the top of the same UV. again, because there's no wording, there's no like textures or anything. The problem that we've got with it now, thinking about it, is I want it to be mapped in exactly the same way. Because I've mirrored it, that barber pole striping will go in opposite directions. Instead of going right to left on both of them, the left is going to go right to left, and then the right hand will go left to right. So I'm probably better grabbing this like that, copy paste, damn it, I need to grab everything, don't I? Copy paste. So when I come to do it, when I come to UV it properly, it will at least look right. Right, so I think these are rotor brakes. Could be wrong, or it could just be that dirty great big handle that's there. I think that's the rotor brake actually. I think that's probably the engine clutches. Again, could be wrong. Need an aerospace mechanic or a helicopter mechanic to guide me on this. Right, so I am going to grab those faces. And we are going to gonna say we're gonna just move 1.5 mil in. I grab that edge. Let's do this without the vile green. Don't need that, or we don't want that. Right. So that's 1.5 in. So just so that you can see what I'm going to try and do. Go into model. So I am going to thicken this. I'm going to go out 2.5 mil. So again, just to make my life a little bit easier, I should have chosen a couple of different faces, but it's not the end of the world, because I can just turn it like that. It's going to be 11.25 degrees, just because of the number of faces. It's a 16-sided round, so you can either divide 360 by 16.5, sorry, by 16, or you can just, if it's 4 sides for the 90, because it's 90 degrees of the arc, 4 sides, So 2 is going to be 45, and then so that's going to leave us 22 and a half. So we're only moving half an arc, so it's going to be 11.25. You do it enough, and it becomes, or you kind of do that pretty much on a daily basis for a couple of months, which I did as a CAD engineer, and it suddenly becomes sort of instinctive, and you don't even really think about it anymore. So I'm going to copy that. Again, we're going to just move into this. Need to fix that as well at some point. Right. I'm just going to delete that bottom face because I don't really need it. I'm going to you go to 80% width. Shrink that line down a bit. Get into 80% of that. Uh, 80% of that. So what we're making is this bracket essentially that sits over the top. We've got the base plate. I'm now cutting down. I'm going to try and make these lug and cut down the shape. So what I want gonna thicken that 50 mil. There's method in this madness. We're gonna go on the side view. Actually, before we do that, I'm just gonna grab those edges. I'm just gonna quickly bevel them. So it's one round corner. Oh, the round level is just one face. So if we go on the right view now, so edit. So essentially it's like a tapered bracket, and it all folds up and comes to a point. So we're actually just making half of this bracket at the moment. So what I'm going to do is make an estimate. So we can get rid of that vert. I'm going to grab those top edges. Actually, I'll change the perspective. You can see what I'm doing. So grabbing those edges, and I am just going to grab that. Sorry, grab the vert. Going to grab that last vert, and if I'm got this right, and I triangulate that, there we go. So I've now closed that shape. I can just Let's get rid of that face. There we go, sorry. So let's grab that. So we don't need this either because that's going to go. So let's grab that edge. So looking at this already, I've kind of dropped a boo-boo, but we can fix it. I've got a Bob the Builder reference just come into my head that's probably not safe for saying on the channel. Right, so while I'm in this position, I grab that geometry polygon merge. I'm going to add a little 2 round bevel on that at 2.5 mil. And make a quick slice across there. And I've realised I've screwed up. Dope. Shiza. So I've just snapped onto the work plane so I don't have to worry about screwing the face up too much. So I turn that off again and we go back to the right view. This is where having a head for spatial relationships comes in. Right. Now, I was going to do an elaborate cut and fill it and whatever, but I don't think you're even going to notice it. Again, it's one of those things, if you're looking up to see it, you're focusing the wrong thing. Right, so we don't need that bottom face, don't need that either. So we're just going to geometry, duplicate, mirror. I'm going to use the Y plane. Vertex merge. Sorry, just try to avoid sneezing. Again, all I'm trying to do, I'll keep saying this every time, is I'm trying to reduce the amount of polygons, unnecessary polygons, straight out of the gate. So trying to simplify as many of these faces as possible, or as sensible, as credible early on, just helps further down the road. Oh. Helps if you keep the layer turned on, doesn't it? So, model. So, right view. So I'm just going to create a box. That's going to be 35 mil tall. We'll go 30 mil wide. And again, 30 mil. So let's grab those edges. So I don't think that's the angle that it's moving at. Oh wow. Again, I haven't got a center point to really snap to. So it is just gonna have to be eyeball it. I can create a center fairly easily. So, because you're not going to see that face. So if I just go faceted, what that has done, if I actually turn snapping on, is it's created a point I can snap to there, and then come back into that, and you'll see there's 4 polygons down there. I can just cut them away. We're never going to see them again, so not a problem. So I need to those sides go back to front, and I'm going to go 50% width, which gives us this sort of trapezium bit. So I am just going to take these edges, again, 2.5 mil rounded edge. I'm going to grab that top edge as well. I don't think it's not going to tolerate 2.5 mil, so we'll go 1.5 mil. I think and I'm going to grab these back edges, I'm going to bevel them, but instead of doing a one rounded thing, I'm just going to put a bevel on it. So I think proportionally I need to scale them up a little bit. I know it's got a grip on the top, but again, I can do that with a texture, with a normal map, and I don't think it's going to be that. No, it's not. You're not going to see it. It's kind of the point that I'm getting at. So I don't know. Yeah, I think I've gone. That's gone a little bit too over large. So let's back that off. So I'm going 105. It's not quite the same angle or proportion, but I don't think that's too far out, personally. I think we're probably a little bit. Let's come back 8mm. Grab that. Polygon merge. And go grab the slice tool off the back end of that. So anything that's inside another shape is excess UV space that we don't need to use or abuse, or we don't want to use and abuse. So I'm going to grab that ever so slightly, move it in. So again, that's coming a mil. That's in a mil. Just going to grab that face. Again, work plane on. So when I come to the top side, I'm coplanar to that. I'm just going to do a 12-sided 3mm radius. Let's grab all of that. All right. Little flat-topped rivet. So let's do a very quick unwrap on this. You can see a lot of it is it's just overlaid. It's a mess. So again, where are we? We need to go into UV, don't we? So that's a bit of a mess. These are going to be the side pieces. So that should be the inside face on this bottom piece. Come on, fit selected, there we go. Right, so we're not going to see that face, so they can just delete that. That's gone. I'm just going to quickly stitch some bits together. Unwrap them. Little bits like this, I'm not going to say I'm unwrapping them properly, but making more of an effort to unwrap them. Now, because it's going to be a pain later. Or it's going to be tedious later. They aren't very complex parts, so just better off to get them out of the way. Again, if you don't want to work like that, that's fine. I seem to be saying an awful lot. It's not a how-to channel, it's just how I do things. So, don't like it, don't do it my way. That's simple. Right. So next, this is going to be the top hat. So what I am going to do is just go into the top face and split this out a little bit easier for me anyway. So I've selected the top and bottom. So just do a quick unwrap on that. So that leaves me the four sides. So given how the polygons have kind of been split out, I'm essentially grabbing the two sides with the adjoining faces. So this is the top and the bottom edge sides with again their faces. So there's a couple of different ways that I can actually lay this out, but because I'm going to end up painting ridges in this, I'm going to relax that. So that should be nice and symmetrical. I'm going to go onto these two sides and stitch these on. I'm not overly worried about this, if I'm brutally honest. You're not going to see, well, it's going to be a feature, but unless you're looking up, it's not in your direct eye line, so it doesn't have to be, mega perfect or anything. So we can undo those. So what we've got left, you can see here, and it's just going to be easier if I do that. So it now looks a little bit easier to get hold of the faces that we want. We're going to split it in two right down the center. So that's one side. That's the other. So I'm going to grab one each of those, split them out as well. So if I grab each of those sides, I can join those. I can't, obviously, if I stitch that on there, it's going to overlap. So on the other side, I am just going to stitch them there. And I can be crafty and join those. That is not going to be the most efficient use of the UV, I will tell you now. Freely admit that, but right now it's what we need is just to keep everything together. So again, copy, paste. Actually, screw that, because we're just going to mirror it. I'm not going to fight, duplicate, mirror. So let's grab all of that. Overhead. Let's change that colour because it is pretty rotten. It's a little bit easier to see. If I change the lighting angle, it's starting to look like something. So, and the reason that I left a lot of this, come on, where are you? There we go. So if I grab all of those, normally I would animate all of this. Again, I don't know what the triggers are for infusion. It's going to be 11.25 minus 11.25. So, you know, event handlers and things like that. So it should give us a bit better of an angle. There we go. So as the engine comes on, these would be looking at this. So as you turn the engine on, or before you turn the engine on, you turn these, I'm guessing, the clutches to idle, so they'll be at the top. So let's go and move them. So it's all that actually. There we go. So again, using that sensor. That's 22.5. And I would imagine these two outers a decrease to come back. Oh, I don't know. I'm guessing, purely guessing. Anyway, so start at the top of the rotor box. So what I want to do now is these are fire extinguisher pulls. So fire emergency shut off selector. So you pull that out, that'll turn the fuel off to the engine, and then there should be a toggle switch somewhere that will trigger fire extinguishers into the engines and things like that. Cargo release. So that's for the automated hook. I don't know. Right, so let's start popping out some of these panels. So it's looking promising anyway. Right. Geometry, polygon, merge. Do I actually need that? No, I don't, because we've done everything we need to do with that. So let's go to back view again. Don't want to unload that texture. Oh, sorry. I'm struggling to read the thing. What are we working on today? Seaking. What's the program, by the way? The program is Modo. Palm Father. Yeah, trapezoid. Shape needs to be wider. Not sure about that personally, but I kind of see where you're coming from on that. But we'll see. I want to add a few more details in so we can have a proper look. So I'm going to move this off to the side so I can actually see what I'm doing. My monitor on the right hand side is on its way out, so it's not very happy with me at the minute. It's very hard to read anything on it. So it tends to get used for films and YouTube and whatever. So it's 100 mil. Let's go to 200 for that. And I'm going to go 5 mil thick, even though that is a little bit too much. Let's grab those edges. 8 mil round should be fine. So 8 mil. I'm going to stay with a 12 on here. A 12-sided circle. Let's go on the top. Grab that face. Just going to scale that down a bit. Sorry, if I'm not ignoring anybody on the text, I'm just kind of a little bit focused in my own little world when I'm doing this sort of thing. So, sorry, chat. I'm also really on my chin strap tired. Like I said earlier on, it's been a very long day. going to be a bloody long weekend as well, I think. I'm supposed to be writing a piece on the impact of US bombing the shit out of Iran without a plan, or potential impact of that. And I don't really know where else to start other than the obvious. It's just going to cause a shitstorm. Right, so this is going to be, again, the ubiquitous Deezers, but this has got covers on it. So I'm guessing these are like rubber plugs or something. But those are Deezers fasteners there, so I don't know what the hell those actually are. So are these? See, that's a pop out that goes around that. I can probably bodge it and hide it in that, but a friend of mine has been listening to these recently. Everyone say hi, Caroline, and she's mercilessly ripping the shit out of me for the number of times I say and I think that's rather unfair. Right. So this, I think those need to be a bit bigger actually. So we're an hour and 14 in, so I'm alright with that. Um, 125. Is that gonna be too big or not? No, I think that's about right. Bloody snap. Yeah, Caroline and her daughter, they both, well, more precisely, her daughter suffers from insomnia. Her daughter is 5, and they sit and listen to me waffle, and apparently it puts the kid to sleep. So I don't know whether I should be flattered that I can calm the savage monster that is a child, or be offended that I bore them senseless so they just drift off into La La Land. Right, I have a bit of a problem here now in that I've accidentally... Oh, wrong command. Vertex merge. Polygon. So we've got 196 polygons down there. Force unify 98. So that is a good reduction. So those aren't needed. So again, this is an overhead. We can do a lot of this by normal map, and we'll just paint them in. I can also high poly the crap out of this. Don't know that I want to. So what I'm going to do is bring some donor parts in. So these are toggle switches that I've made for the Wildcat. I should be at 10 degrees off, which means that is 80. And they're all ever so slightly on the piss, which is not the worst thing. I think I could be putting myself to sleep in a minute. I think we'll make it to the 2-hour mark, and I may just end up calling it for tonight. And I will try and do a little bit tomorrow. Excuse me. So, long or short, so that's 5. Gonna scale that actually. So that's 55 mil separation. Come on, stop jumping. There we go. So those are amber rebates. They're essentially reset lights. And grab those. Actually, just grab one. There's no point. I was going to spin that, but spinning it blind and in the wrong location is not a good idea. So if we go on the move pin, damn you. Dum, dum, dum. I'm going to leave them just a little bit behind. So I can go into UV. Now I've got different texture maps here that I need to merge. So the UV there is pretty much I will at some point finish my sentences properly. Like I say, I'm just disappearing into my own little thought process. I am wandering off into thinking about other things. So let's pack this again. It's the advantage of it scales everything appropriately. So what I want to do is just bring that back a smidge. See if that side mirrors. See, that's 6 by 6, so yeah. Geometry, duplicate, mirror. Ooh. Grab that, move it text, because currently with Modo has this nice thing of showing you that the faces are reversed. Yellow means the face was reversed. So if I mirror that in the UV, and the reason I'm doing that is the text on each of these panels is obviously different. So while it's similar, it is a little bit different. So those are going to be lights. So that, which way round are we? We're at the front, so I need to go to the back view. Ooh. Right, so I'm going to grab... Just going to grab the top of one of these. Copy, paste. And again, I'm just going to line it up on the sensors there. Reset the Y and the Z and the Z. So the reason those are black at the moment is it's got the wrong material assigned to it. So if I just grab everything and we go and slap the material, the what's it material on it? The overhead material. Top. Right, so I need to grab those two and move them back. Where the hell is that coming from? Oh. Right. So again, if I just tweak the light a little bit. Okay. It's a little bit further back than I wanted, I think. Right, that kind of explains why we're not seeing much. I've lost my orientation. What the friggin' hell's going on there? So we're coming in from behind on that one. So we're there on the front. Okay, that's better. I can see the edge of the panel that I'm building. So what we'll do is we'll literally paint the rebate behind these. So we need to change the heads on this. So it's this side I want to change. So I'm going to take the heads off of that, which will save us 492 polygons. Bloody hell. And I'm going to take that, copy it, scale it to 150. And again, I'm just going to merge the UV, put it in the overhead, copy, paste. I just got a 30-minute warning text from a friend. We're supposed to be having a movie night. Don't think that's going to happen somehow. So I don't know about you guys, but every single woman I have ever known, you put a movie on and they go to sleep. And it's always some random bloody chick flick that I have better part of no interest in whatsoever. Right. It's a slight difference. I should have left the back too, but I'm not bothered about that. Right, so I've got 1 hour 33 on the clock. The rest is going to be essentially rinse and repeat. Now, I can show you how I would make those. But again, I'd make the low poly and then just bake that from the high poly. Toggle switches I'll pull from a library, the fuses. None of this is going to be particularly interesting. So I think I may call it there, because I need to use the facilities. Come on, come to me. That's it. Space Mouse is very sensitive. This might be a better final shot for it. Yeah, so I'll try again tomorrow morning, and hopefully we'll either have, or tomorrow afternoon rather, we'll have a bit more interesting stuff. I should have powered through the boring bits so we can come back to. It will be more panel building, but I still want to get the interior cockpit panels and things. So what I think we'll probably try and do tomorrow is cockpit instrumentation. But for now, I'm trying to keep it more interesting. I know it's not exactly the most exciting thing to watch as I punch holes through the existing model, but It's better than nothing. So with that, thank you very much. I am going to call it. I'm going to go and get cleaned up and use the facilities and go around and watch some. Yeah. Sorry, my headset went off then.
Established. Mic on.
I thought it went quiet for a moment. My headset went off. I don't know what time it went off, but anyway. Yeah, I'm going to call it quits. Um, I need to go and get sorted before I go and watch a film of some dubious vintage, I think. I'm not entirely sure what the plan is. Thanks for that. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry if I ignored you in the chat. Um, I didn't see you there because I had Windows covering it. So I will try better. I'll try harder next time. Or better luck next time. Thanks very much. See you later. Have fun. Enjoy your Friday night. And I'll catch you again tomorrow.